Hello and welcome back as we continue moving through our discussion of CSA concepts, this time focusing on complex access control. So, when I talk about complex access control, what I mean is that through IAM policies, AWS gives us the ability to create extremely complex and granular permission policies for our users, all the way down to the resource level. So, what are some IAM policies with resource level permissions? Well, for EC2, we can create permissions for instances such as reboot, start, stop, or terminate based all the way down to the instance ID. So, what this means is that we can have a user, and for this particular user, we can say for this particular instance, meaning their instance ID, you can only reboot that. For another instance, you can only start that instance. For another instance, you can start, stop, and reboot that instance. And then maybe for a whole bunch of other instances, they could just terminate those instances, but do no other actions on those instances. So you can get extremely granular and complex if you want to with your IAM permission policies. Now, for EBS volumes, your options are to attach, detach, or delete an EBS volume. So you can have a certain set of users only be able to attach EBS volumes to an EC2 instance, or only be able to detach EBS volumes from an EC2 instance. Now, EC2 actions that are not one of these listed above are not governed by resource level permissions at this time, meaning that you can only get this granular on an instance level or an EBS volume level with the ones that are listed here, which are reboot, start, stop, or terminate for EC2 instances, and attach, detach, and delete for EBS volumes. Now, this is not just limited to EC2 instances. It can also include services such as RDS and S3, which has the ability to drill down to this type of granularity. And even though I'm not covering those specifics here, I just mention this so that you're aware that you can get this granular with a lot of other services as well. Now, there are additional security measures, such as multi-factor authentication, are also available when acting on certain resources. For example, you can require multi-factor authentication before an API request to delete an object within an S3 bucket. Now, we covered this in some of our other lessons, but again, I just repeat that as a part of this particular lesson because this lends into the granularity and how deep we can get with our AIM access policies. And with that, we will conclude this lesson. Thank you for watching. You may now move on.